Johnson? I'm the doctor you sent for.
Seriously. He'd go into slum neighborhoods, tough neighborhoods. He'd take all kinds of risks. I'd say, Steve, try to build up a nicer practice. And he'd say, baby, rich people have plenty of doctors. Why, he'd take his life in his hands, half the places he went to.
Yes. Most people don't realize.
Because they can't afford to say no when they're trying to build up a practice. A lot of older doctors, they don't want to bother, and they simply refer their night calls. Comfort the needy. I swear by Apollo. Look where it got him.
Well, we won't bother you anymore, Mrs. Harmon.
Wait a minute. I think I remember. He said the name of a painter. To her on the phone. He mentioned a famous painter.
What?
Yes, he repeated it. I remember it struck me at the time. It was one of the old masters. Gainsborough, maybe. Van Dyck. Rembrandt. Yes. Rembrandt.
Johnson, huh? Oh, here we are. George and Mary Johnson, Fairfax, Pennsylvania. They come in around 9 o'clock last night.
Told Dr. Harmon she was all alone.
Paid in advance. Must have left real early this morning before any of us was up.
What'd they look like?
Well, I didn't see him. The woman was the one that registered while he was parking the car. She was young, real pretty, but seemed kind of upset.
What do you mean upset? Was she ill?
Upset, I mean, nervous. I don't know about ill.
She called for a doctor. Any doctor come here?
A little after midnight.
Oh, I wasn't around then. I went out about 10 p.m. to visit friends. Maybe my daughter Lori can tell you. Y'all come on in.
Sugar tree growing in the middle of town. And every time a pretty girl passes, pick some sugar down. Well, it's there the will. Oh, Joe Clark. There the
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
There the will. Oh,
Hey, Lori.
Clark. Gotta be
Throttle it.
on.
Sorry, Pops.
Day and night, folk singers. Lori, these are policemen. They'd like to know about the couple in number 9 last night.
I didn't see them.
They made quite a few phone calls. The woman called a doctor at about midnight.
Oh, I closed down the switchboard before that.
She must have used that phone booth outside.
Yeah.
The man made a bunch of calls from his room, though, when they first checked in.
Where to?
Oh, I don't know. He just gave numbers, all local calls. You know what? You know something funny? His voice sounded awful familiar.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, like I knew him or heard him talk before. You hear a voice sometimes and it bugs you? Now, where did I hear that voice?
Or maybe a friend or somebody that stayed at the motel.
You wait, it'll come to me.
Well, what about the doctor? Did you see him?
What doctor?
You're not listening, Laurie. The doctor the woman called for.
Well, you said it was very late. I locked up the office about 10:30 to go shampoo my hair.
Fare the well, Ojo Park, fare the well, I'm gone. Fare the well, Ojo Park, gotta be getting on, gotta be getting on. Oh.
Hey, fellas, what's it all about? Don't tell me I'm getting a low-class clientele.
Doctor was murdered late last night.
Probably on these premises.
You kidding?
Nope.
Well, that's all I need.
You better show us that room the Johnson couple occupied.
Hey, look, they never even used the linen.
Probably used the room simply to wait for Dr. Harmon. Hey, Dad. You ever hear of a place called the Lugubrious Lizard on Santa Monica Boulevard? Sounds like the kind of joint I steer clear of.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's out past Sepulveda.
Maybe we should drop in.
Why? I'm sure they give away about 500 of those every night.
Dan, take a look at this, will you? Now, I am a triangle doodler. This guy, or woman, is strictly a curlicue doodler. He probably sat here doodling while he made those phone calls, while he was waiting for Dr. Harmon.
It's amazing.
All right, Sherlock. You come up with a better theory.
I told you I'd remember. I'm simply uncanny about voices.
Well, we have a wonderful understanding, my missus and I. Please believe me. I get one night out a week with the boys, and she gets one night out a week with the boys.
The man in nine? The one on the phone?
Yeah.
That's just what he sounded like.
Yeah, right?
Hoagie Blair. Ever heard him? He's simply marvelous. He's playing with the Lugubrious Lizard.
Don't let her waste your time. Laurie, turn it off. Laurie, quit wasting their time.
And friends, you know, today also, you know, there are a lot of people that come from either side of the tracks. One side of the track, or they become people who come from the other side of the track. Is that correct? But you're looking at a fellow with a very big problem, because in the little town that I came from, we had no tracks. We had no trains. For all I know, I could be a snob. Well, let me tell you this. Right here. Oh, don't worry, we're going to keep going. How long have I been up here? Too long. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not growing anymore. Let me tell you. Oh, I thought I'd grown a foot. But listen, let me tell you this. All right, okay. Take it easy. I can see right now the boss over there wants me to call a cab and get off of here because he wants to plant a table right here. Yeah, so anyway, I want to thank you all for coming and taking the trouble to see our little show. If you did like our show, remember we do a word-to-mouth business, so be sure and tell your friends, right? And if you didn't like it, keep your mouth shut and let them get stuck on their own. So take care of yourself. Remember, the show's been very long and I'm very short, so be good to yourself out there and have a lot of fun.
He's good.
I told you he would be. Most of the students in my art class have been raving about him. Nick, you're not going to question him here.
Why not?
You know you're the limit. You ask a girl out for a date and finally suggest a nightclub, and it turns out to be in the line of duty.
Here he comes.
Thanks very much.
Hey, Hoagie.
Yes.
Nick Anderson, Joyce Allen.
How do you do, Miss Allen?
How do you do?
You made quite a hit with the maitre d'.
Why don't you sit down and join us for a few minutes?
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm a little heated up from those two shows. You'll have to excuse me.
I bet.
Wow, they certainly aren't building detectives the way they used to.
She sculpts, I detect.
He's not used to nightclubbing, so he brought me along for protection.
She's one of your aficionados. She also teaches art.
she also dates cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's an egghead type cop.
Well, what am I suspected of? Parking my car too near a hydrant or something, Sergeant?
No. But you were at the Rembrandt Motel last night.
The what motel?
Rembrandt?
Rembrandt. Sounds like it needs a new coat of paint or something. The Rembrandt Motel. Anybody that'll be caught in the What's illegal about that? What has the police got to do with it? Here was this girl at the bar, and I went over between shows. We started to talk, and, you know, I didn't know her from Adam.
Eve.
Eve, yeah. Anyway, we started to talk, strike up a little conversation. She looked like she dug me a little bit, you know, and, well, she looked like an out-of-towner. One thing led to another. The next thing you know, we were in her car, heading for the motel as Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
It's all right. I'm over 21.
Sarge, you know, I'm separated from my wife. We're sort of at loose ends.
I understand.
I just didn't want you to think that I made a habit of this sort of thing.
Tell me, was she really sick?
Yes, she was. In fact, I was with her when she had the attack. It scared me to death, too. She said, call a doctor. I said, I didn't want anything to do with this cockamamie kind of business. I said, I'm not going to talk to any doctor, call any doctor, anything else. She said, well, if you don't, I'm going to call the doctor. See, so I didn't want her to think I was a heel, so I stuck with her. That's the whole schmear, if that's what you're here about. If you're here about her, that's all I know.
I'm here about the doctor.
Dr. Harmon?
How come you phoned his wife?
Well, he wanted me to phone his wife. You know, he just asked me to phone her, and I figured, well, seeing as how he was nice enough to answer the SOS for this Miss... What's her name? That's the least I could do, was to phone his wife, and... Now, what's this all about? I mean, there's something more to this you're not telling me. What is it?
Dr. Harmon's dead.
No.
Murdered. Beaten to death. Tell me, did you see him drive away from the motel?
Yes, I did. I saw him when I was in the phone booth making the call for him. I saw him get into his car and drive away. Awfully nice guy, too. Very kind, considerate. He came and calmed her down, calmed her fears and everything, you know. God, his poor wife.
Yeah. Well, that'll be enough questions for now, Hogue. I'm sorry to throw this at you in the middle of your routine.
That's all right, Sergeant. Anytime. I'll be around for anything you need me for.
Take care.
Nice to meet you, Miss Ellen.
Thank you.
Did you check with the Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement?
Yeah. The records on Dr. Harmon show a sizable inventory of morphine.
It starts to look like a homicide for that bottle of morphine he must have been carrying.
That toilet flush before we made the bust.
But it's not going to stop me from booking every one of you.
The eyedroppers are enough. The needles are enough. And your arms. What are they, bedbug bites? Your arms are filthy. They prove you've been making it so I can hold you. What a bunch. What a disgusting-looking bunch. And you crumbs. How are you paying for it? Boosting? Purse snatching? Rolling drunks? What are you charging today, Harry? Price gone up to $12 a bag. You know what I'm going to want from you? Names. Names. And more names. That goes for the whole crowd. If you want to get back to your needles and your eyedroppers, you better give me all the information that comes into your sick little minds. Other junkies, where your meats are. Who scores for you besides Harry? I'll have a tape recorder waiting. Think about it. I'll try to keep your name out of it, so you won't be cut out on the outside, but I can't promise. Hello, Nicky. How are you? Long time no
Reggie,
see.
how's Irma?
Ah, she's fine. Couldn't be better. Hey, what do you know? We got a second grandchild.
Two! You're kidding. Hey, congratulations.
Listen, Nick, you got to come out the house someday soon.
Sure.
Nothing would give Irma greater pleasure.
Anytime.
What can I do for you?
Well, like I told you on the phone, Reggie, this Harmon case is still wide open. Now, with the junkie aspect, we have to look for all known addicts.
Help yourself.
Thanks.
It's alphabetical. There were 2,500 arrests in the greater Los Angeles area last year. I got pictures with most of them. It's only a fraction, maybe 10%.
Wow. Doesn't look like Blair's here. Not under his name, anyway. You know, I didn't think Hoagie Blair was an addict. I mean, he was too alert, too outgoing. His brain seemed too clear.
That's how much you know. That's how much the average Joe Dokes knows. That's only 10%. They're tricky, Nick. They're deceitful. They know all the ways to hide it, except from each other or somebody like me who's been on the tail for 20 years. One, don't go by appearances.
Okay, Reggie. You're the narco bull, you tell me.
You're lucky. I think I might be able to save you a little legwork. Why don't you come back around 4 o'clock? Oh, make it a little earlier. They always start to sweat a little earlier when we're holding them. Be my guest. Those creeps in there will be ready to spill their guts. They'll sell out their best friends.
What do you mean? You wait until they need a fix, and then you squeeze them?
Sure, you want information, don't you? You're trying to break a brutal murder case.
Yeah, but...
But nothing. The only time you'll get something even resembling the truth is when they start shivering, or they get cramps, or their nose starts running. But don't start telling me that they're sick. It's not criminal. That it's not fair, not cricket.
I'm not telling you anything, Reggie. It's your business. You're the expert.
But?
But I hate the whole thing. It's putrid. Stinks to high heaven.
It stinks, huh? You don't know what kind of people they are. They steal from their mother. They let their kids go hungry. You don't deal with them as if they're human beings.
So what do? You sweat them, torture them, use the third degree? Well, some guys have to. But I don't.
All right, so I'm a heel. I'm the heel of these poor, misunderstood junkies. You want a prediction, Nick? I'll make with a prediction. This homicide case of yours involves junkies. You won't crack it. You won't even get to first base until you're ready to deal with them like I do. Oh, good for you, Harry boy. You play ball with me, I'll ball with you.
The customers, I don't want they should know.
I've transferred the whole lot of you to separate detention cells. No one has to know you've been let out.
That name you wrote on a piece of paper had the bull show me.
Hoagie Blair.
I used to be his connection. Now he buys mostly from a cat called Manny. But he called me day before yesterday when Manny got busted. He's a heavy customer. Maybe $200 a week.
How long has he been feeding the monkey?
Long time, 8 years. Nice guy. Sweet guy. Lovely wife. Simply beautiful. She walked out on him a couple weeks ago. She found out he was a junkie.
My daughter will be right down, Sergeant.
Do you live here, sir?
No, I live in Bel Air. I just dropped in to visit. Well, I've been waiting for this.
Mrs. Blair?
Dad says you're a detective. Would you rather talk to me alone?
I think he knows a good deal about this already. I'd like to know something about your husband's addiction.
My husband's what?
His illness, his drug addiction. That is the reason you're separated.
Broken up. We're still very much in love. We're trying to work things out.
That isn't what I asked you, Mrs. Blair.
Why don't you answer him, darling? Tell him the truth. Can't you see he's finally in a real jam? She keeps trying to cover up for him. Her mother and I have pleaded with her till we're blue in the face. He's a criminal. He breaks the law every time he meets one of those narcotic peddlers. Every time he pushes that filthy needle into his arm.
Daddy, don't do this to him.
So he can afford the stuff now. But for years, every penny he could lay his hands on. Why, he even got her to come to me to borrow money.
Miss Blair, do you realize that Hoagie's need for drugs probably involved him in a murder?
What?
You'd better help him, honey.
I still love him. I guess I'll go on loving him, even after this thing destroys him. Like our marriage.
Do you still see your husband, Mrs. Blair?
Quite often. How does the song go? Can't live with him and can't live without him. You see, in spite of what you may think of him, he's not scum. He's not a monster. I can't live without him. I just can't.
Did you see your husband yesterday, Mrs. Blair?
Yes, he dropped by in the afternoon.
How do you see him?
Very good. Relaxed and enthusiastic about his new routine.
Isn't that usually a sign that they have plenty of narcotics on hand?
Generally, that's true. Yes.
Harry, I tried to get a hold of you the other day.
Hoagie?
You're great one for voices. Harry, listen, I gotta see you because, you know, I tried to get a hold of some other people in town, but I guess everything is kind of clamped down all over.
Well, things have been pretty rough all over. It's pretty warm outside.
I got the money, see? I got the money, and where could I meet you?
How do I know it's cool at your end?
Harry, listen. I gotta see you. You understand? I'm gonna leave town, and I gotta have enough to last me.
Remember when the heat was on my other place?
Yeah.
But the price has gone up at $60 an eighth of an ounce.
It's all right. It's all right. I got the money. What do you say about half hour in your place, huh?
Half an hour will be fine.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I love you, Harry. Half hour.
He's all yours.
Don't let it throw you, boys. He won't get too far. He'll drive round and around to one meet after another till he's too sick to run. Can't get out of town. Where would he get a connection?
Like riding to the hounds, huh, Reggie? Or hunting down a sick animal.
All right, so it's open season on hyenas and jackals. Then don't tell me about his constitutional rights.
Is Tony around? Manny? Fats?
Like Gregson said.
Yeah. Like we had him on a leash all the time.
cold turkey. Cold turkey, huh, Sarge? It's not very pretty to watch, is it, huh? It's not. I wonder what my fans would say. Would they laugh, huh? Would I get about five or six curtain calls, huh?
Want a drink of water?
No, you know what I want, huh?
We're not licensed to peddle junk, Hoagie.
Oh, no. Come on.
How did it happen? How? A man with your brilliance, your future, the talent you have.
The girl, she was hooked too. She was a junkie like me too. And I don't want to mention her name now because she didn't know what I was up to. I met her in a club. That's where we met. We were in a club, and we were scared to death because everything was hot all over town, and for the past couple of days there'd been raids, and everybody was getting knocked over, and neither one of us could make a connection.
Did you put her up to getting that motel room?
Yes, and then I joined her later. And I joined her later. And then I made her call a bunch of doctors, and she kept calling until we got one that would come over.
And then?
I sent her away, and I told her I was going to make a buy from the doctor. And that's why I was alone when the doctor came.
Did you try to buy the stuff from Dr. Harmon?
Well, sometimes when you offer enough to some quack, he'll pop over. But when I told Dr. Harmon about this, why, he looked at me like I was crazy. He was such a decent guy. He wasn't ugly, about anything. He said he understood that we couldn't help ourselves, and that we needed the stuff. He begged me to turn myself in and to commit myself.
Where did the fight take place?
Outside of this place that we were at. He walked out. He walked out, and I followed him, and he put his bag in back of the car, and I reached for the bag, and that's when he grabbed the jack handle, and I grabbed it. I don't know how I got it, but I grabbed it from him, and then I hit him on the head with it, and that's when he must have fallen back against the bumper, and it killed him then. And later on, I phoned his wife, because I wanted to give myself some time to think. And I rode around with him in the car with me.
get his own lawyer.
Has he confessed?
Full confession. It was an accident, but it'll probably be first degree.
No, they'll send him where he belongs.
Where he belongs? He belongs in a hospital to start with. Or somewhere. Somewhere where he wouldn't have been driven or hounded or tortured into being a criminal. Whatever he did because of what he has to have. His food, his medicine, his life's blood was being held from him. Are you proud of yourself, Sergeant? Are you pleased with how easy it was? Finished, wrapped up. Full confession.
Father-in-law must be getting quite generous. He's retained Fighting Johnny Egan, the juror's delight.
Very funny. Listen to me, Blair.
I don't want you, Mr. Egan. I don't want you or any other lawyer. You understand?
This is a capital case. You've got to have a lawyer.
Why? Why do I have to have a lawyer? It's cut and dried. Haven't you read the script?
The script?
Sure. 5 pages long, my confession. The DA told the grand jurors that I'm something out of Dracula. Should have heard him tell them about Dr. Harmon's hospital record, his research into medicine. This worthwhile human being destroyed by this degenerate lump of putty.
Don't write the district attorney's summation for him.
Oh, I won't have a chance. I'm going to plead guilty, so why don't you just save your courtroom brilliance for some of these slobs who really need it, huh?
Blair, come back here. They say you addicts have a suicide impulse.
Mr. Regan, don't try and give me any of that Johnny Do-Good stuff and try to understand us. We're nothing but a bunch of garbage.
I've handled junkies before, so don't you get the idea I'm concerned about saving you. Maybe you're right. As a human being, you may not be worth saving. But if you're looking for atonement, I'm giving you a chance. A chance to do something constructive, to help others.
I don't read you, Counselor.
Well, they say you're very clever, savage, satiric. You get up on a stage and you demolish false values. You point out social absurdities. In your own way, as a comic, you expose hypocrisy.
So?
So, my stage is a courtroom. I may not be a sick comic, but our aims are not entirely dissimilar. I also use my stage when I get disgusted by hypocrisy. When I see things that cry out for public notice, things that stink to the high heavens. Now, one of them concerns you. Not Hoagie Blair, the individual, but the tens of thousands of people like you in this country who are hooked on narcotics. Our criminal laws on drug addiction are massive absurdities. They're cruel, nonsensical medieval, and inoperable. Your case gives me a chance to put on a demonstration of all that, or at least try to.
You could save yourself a lot of trouble. Why don't you take it?
Don't you want to help him, your fellow garbage, as you put it? Or are you too bent on self-destruction to care?
If he keeps it under $3, you put it on my check.
I'm Hawks. $1.35.
That sounds good. I'll have some.
Except for potatoes, you know.
Yeah, make it 2 vegetables. I'm buying you lunch today, Counselor, to express my admiration. Most lawyers wait for headaches, but you ask for them.
Meaning Hoagie Blair.
Meaning Hoagie Blair. My girl tells me you sent around for a copy of the confession. John, I can hear you already. Obtained under duress. The defendant was under great stress, in need of drugs, and therefore...
I sat with you at a bar association lecture one night 2 months ago. We both heard a reputable doctor describe the mental and physical syndrome known as withdrawal symptoms.
With projecticides.
Well, you and I both know that a confession made at a time like that is involuntary. It follows a kind of a torture.
All right. What do you want the police to do? Provide every junkie with a platter of heroin before they start asking questions?
Oh, no, that'd be illegal. They can't call a doctor in to give him an injection. That'd be illegal, too.
All right, so there you are.
Jerry, what about a confession made by a suspect with severe heart trouble? Where would you be, lawyer, could show he hadn't been allowed his digitalis in the police station?
Out of luck.
Right.
But junkies are different.
Junkies are different. Junkies are different.
The law says they're different.
Local ordinances do, not the Supreme Court.
All right, I agree with you. The whole thing is snafu. You know it, I know it, and Judge Tasman will be sitting on the Blair case, knows it. A junkie. That's all the average citizen has to be told. And he'll provide his own nightmare image right out of Robert Louis Stevenson. And it's not for me to correct it. Not while I'm trying anybody first-degree murder. Now, one thing more, Sergeant. Earlier in these proceedings, you read this 5-page confession to the jury. His Honor allowed it over strenuous objection by defense counsel.
Yes, sir.
Now, what I want to know is this. Was Blair's account of what happened that night altered or edited in any way?
No, sir. That's a verbatim transcript of a tape recording.
I see. Now, was he coerced into making it?
Coerced?
Yes.
No, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant. Your witness?
Sergeant, what was Hoagie Blair's condition at the time he confessed?
He was suffering severe withdrawal symptoms.
Will you kindly explain that to His Honor and to the jury?
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is not a physician.
I'll rephrase. You were present, Sergeant. What was his appearance, his behavior?
Well, he was having these violent chills and severe cramps.
And isn't it a fact that at one point he fainted?
No, sir. He did fall on the floor.
And what was done?
He was placed back in a chair.
But no doctor was called. No medicine was given to him.
No, sir. Any medicine he needed would have been illegal.
Sergeant, didn't you and the other officers know for a certainty ahead of time that Hoagie Blair was bound to be in this state of pain, nausea, anxiety, loss of will, loss of body control?
Yes, we did.
How did you know?
He hadn't had a shot of heroin in many hours.
And did you therefore deliberately pick such a time to question him?
Yes, I did.
Why?
It's the easiest way to get addicts to talk.
Thank you, Sergeant. No more questions. Your Honor, again may I respectfully point out that this confession was obtained under duress.
You haven't shown duress within the customary meaning of the word, Mr. Egan. Denied. Call your next witness.
So he says to me on the phone, Harry, don't let me down. Hoagie, I said, with all these raids, I can hardly get enough stuff for my regulars.
All right, now tell me, what did Blair say to that?
Well, if I can't score from you, he says, might have to cop from a drugstore or a doctor's office, something like that.
The defendant flatly stated that he might have to rob a physician?
On the phone, he said it, yeah.
Now, was this before you read about Dr. Harmon's murder?
It's the day before.
I see. Now, Harry, I'm going to ask you this. You yourself are also an addict, isn't that true?
Yeah.
And you have many convictions for peddling, petty robbery, impairing the morals of a minor.
8 convictions.
And this was known by the defendant when he did business with you, isn't that right?
Objection. What possible bearing?
To show, Your Honor, that the defendant had no compunction about consorting and dealing with criminals of the lowest type.
Irrelevant, Mr. Miller. This man's customers became criminals themselves simply by purchasing from him.
Isn't it a fact, Mr. Needles, that most addicted people are forced to deal with you peddlers?
Well, sure. Where else are they going to get the stuff?
And in spite of raids, arrests, and jail sentences, they keep coming back for it.
Well, they got to have it.
Mm-hmm. And the syndicate, the underworld, the big dope importers, they know that, don't they?
Well, sure. It's, simple economics. They're supplying a need.
Simple economics. One more question, Mr. Needles. Isn't it true that a fix, a single dose of heroin, costs from $4 to $10?
Yeah.
And when it's not illegal, not handled by the underworld, when it's dispensed pharmaceutically, how much does it cost?
Well, I guess, about, 25 cents.
Now, Dr. Murray, you say that Besides treating convicted addicts, your state-run institution is also open to those who come voluntarily to be cured.
Yes, sir.
I see. Was the defendant ever a patient of yours?
Yes, sir. For 4 months several years ago.
He came to your hospital asking to be helped in kicking the habit, as it's referred to. Did you help him?
He was discharged as cured.
So that when defense counsel implies that these people are forgotten outcasts, it just isn't true, is it? It just isn't true.
A great deal's being done for them.
Of course. Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Murray, as a qualified expert, will you tell the jury what percentage of addicts, supposedly cured, go right back on the stuff?
Well, statistics vary.
What are the official estimates by the government, medical associations?
About 90% relapse.
And some experts say up to 99%, don't they?
Yes.
Doctor, you have some patients who come back for the cure 5 or 6 times or more, don't you?
We have one addict who's been back 20 times.
Well, honestly speaking, Dr. Murray, doesn't all this indicate that we know very little about the nature of drug addiction?
Very little.
Have we a right then to point a moral finger at these people? To call them criminals when the cures we offer them simply don't work?
Perhaps that's why we condemn them, Mr. Egan. The way lepers were condemned and cast out in the Middle Ages.
Thank you, Doctor. That's all.
Your Honor, please. I'd like to call another witness who's not been listed, however. He's just volunteered. Take the stand, please, Mr. Connaught.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the case now pending before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name, please.
Charles Connaught.
Mr. Connaught, what is your relationship, if any, to the defendant?
He married my daughter. I'm his father-in-law.
I see. Now, at about the time of the murder, what was the status of that marriage?
My daughter had separated from him. She'd asked him to leave their house. She just couldn't take any more.
Now, Mr. Connaught, on the afternoon just before the murder, did you have occasion to drop in and visit her?
Yes, I did.
Would you tell the court, please, what happened there?
Well, as I walked into my daughter's living room, I heard her on the telephone upstairs. She was very upset. She was crying. So I listened in on the downstairs extension.
Would you tell us, please, what you heard?
I heard him. That killer sitting there. And he didn't sound like a man at all. He sounded like some kind of a whining animal. He was telling her how he was looking everywhere for narcotics. Everywhere. He was boasting about combing the whole town for them, and how he wouldn't quit until he found some.
Now, Mr. Connaught, you say that your daughter was very upset.
Upset? She was crying. She was sobbing. It sounded to me as though she was trying to stop him. But I couldn't listen anymore. I had to hang up the phone. But that's the way their minds work. They actually boast about wanting it, about looking for it everywhere.
Mr. Connaught!
They flaunt their filthy cravings at those who love them. They don't have any human feelings.
Mr. Connaught,
And don't let his lawyer fool you. They're all alike. They're depraved. They've got to be wiped out.
Mr. Connaught!
Jury will disregard that last remark.
Forgive me, Your Honor. I simply lost control.
Mr. Connaught, you evidently harbor a lot of hatred for the defendant.
That's putting it mildly.
Will you please tell us why?
Yes. I watched him put a sensitive young woman through years of hell. Pure hell. What they do to those who care for them is just another kind of murder.
This court is adjourned until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. All rise.
He's in the car. I'll see you in a minute.
Hey, Counselor. Why don't you give Hoagie a message from me, will you? Tell him I had to testify for the state. The heat was on me, tell him. Hey, Counselor. There's certain aspects of this case that you ain't, cognizant about.
Come again?
Something came to my attention in the witness room, which I didn't know nothing about till today. A certain junkie of my acquaintance gave it to me in strict confidence.
How much?
I beg pardon?
How much is it going to cost us?
Gratis. On a house. Kind of, I feel bad about Hoagie. Got a pencil?
What's this?
An address.
I can see that. What am I supposed to do with it?
Just go there tonight. Don't tell nobody else. Just go around 10 o'clock.
And what do I find?
If you're lucky, a certain party that can help your client.
Good evening.
Yeah?
Harry Needles gave us this address.
I never saw you before. I don't know anybody by that name.
Hey, that's the lawyer that's defending Hoagie Blair.
Are you sure, Ginny?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to meet somebody who can help Hoagie Blair, is that it?
That's right. How do you know?
Just come in and don't ask any questions. This way. Down.
I can't stand the waiting.
Norm.
Hi, Jenny.
Hey, what's happening?
They went out of Terminal Island.
Day before yesterday.
You clean?
Mm-hmm. They had me on methadone, psychiatry. I had the cutest head shrinker.
This is crazy. Who are we waiting for?
Ginny, I hate to see you using stuff so soon.
Oh, I won't get hooked again, Ella May. I promised myself one more fix, that's all.
I don't know what's the matter with the baby. She just isn't keeping her milk down.
Try warming the milk. My wife used to do that.
Gee, David, I didn't know you had a kid.
Yeah, a little girl. She was killed same time as my wife. Try warming the milk, Ella May.
Yeah. Oh, Ginny, would you keep an eye on the baby, please?
Is the stuff here yet?
No, not yet. Tommy's still out. You'll have to wait.
But he promised me it would be here. I was due over an hour ago. I am sick. I'm sick.
Mrs. Blair.
Linda, darling. Sweet.
Oh. He knows, Hoagie.
What?
Don't bother keeping up the act because he knows.
Knows what? Knows what, for instance? What do you know, for instance?
I saw her last night, Hoagie. At Tommy Hoving's pad.
I had to get it somewhere. With you in jail, it has to come from somewhere. Hoagie, he wants to put me on the stand.
No. No, definitely no.
Hoagie, this man's on your side.
No, I said. No.
And he says it's your only chance, Hoagie.
But you, darling, you...
I want to, Hoagie. I want to.
Mr. Egan, for 5 years, those connections were mine.
She told me, Hoagie.
Darling, what do you think I did it for all that time? To have you walk into some courtroom and strip yourself naked?
I want you alive, Hoagie.
Alive? What have you been lying to her for? I killed a man. What good would her testimony do?
Maybe no good, Hoagie. Or maybe it'll bring a recommendation of mercy.
Mercy? Life in San Quentin?
At least not dead. I don't want to sound corny because I hate corny people. But please, God, let my husband live and I'll go clean, God, clean as you
Please,
made
darling,
me.
don't do that. Listen, please don't. No, darling, listen. God won't listen to us. We've conned him too many times.
Hoagie, I've got to make use of every mitigating circumstance. Her father has managed to convince the jury that you're without a shred of decency.
Can't you leave it that way?
I can't.
Why do you have to take from me my only excuse that makes me still feel like part of the human race?
Because I have a moral obligation.
Darling, our love was the only clean thing that we kept. They'll crucify you.
Hoagie, if there is one chance in 1,000 that I would touch that jury.
By making our marriage out as something dirty?
No, I won't. Trust me, I won't.
In sickness and in health. And she was sick, Mr. Egan. She was. And I took her sickness and I made it my own. That's nobody's business but ours.
Hoagie. Let me try. I first met my husband 8 years ago. It was up north. He was doing very well. I had just finished school, and I was a production assistant at the station where he had his local television show.
At that time, was he addicted?
No. No, he wasn't. But I was.
Mrs. Blair, would you tell the jury in your own words and from your own direct knowledge how your husband took up the habit?
Well, we were going around together. I was under great pressures from home, stress on conformity, and I was under rebellion.
I don't think we have to go into the factors in your own case, Mrs. Blair.
Some friends had introduced me to marijuana. It made me feel very alive.
Go on.
By the time I met Hoagie, it was heroin.
What was his reaction to your addiction?
He was shocked. He tried to get me to stop, but by then I couldn't.
And did you persuade him to join you?
Well, not exactly. I mean, it wasn't that simple.
Well, tell us exactly how it was.
Well, even in those days when Hoagie was younger and very successful, he was scared. Scared to death of facing all those people and trying to be funny.
So he finally asked you to let him try the stuff?
And it made him feel better. Audience liked him better. I had been getting my drugs from a hospital orderly. Quite safe and easy. When my source dried up, why, we were faced with making a regular connection.
A pusher, you mean? A peddler?
Yes. Hoagie said he couldn't stand the idea of my being a criminal. And why should we both be exposed?
Mm-hmm. So until today, until almost this moment on the witness stand, he's been covering for you. How long is that?
Going on 5 years.
During which time your family found out about Hoagie, but not about you.
Yes. Yes, he got me to pretend that I was doing everything I could to stop him. Don't you see? All these years, I'm the one who dragged him down.
All right. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Mrs. Blair, I'd like to jump now to the weekend of June 17th last. You and your husband had recently separated, is that correct?
Yes.
Why?
Well, Hoagie made me tell my family that I was fed up, but Hoagie was the one. He was trying to stay clean.
Nevertheless, he continued to buy your drugs for you.
Yes, and until the day of the killing.
Tell us what happened on that day, Mrs. Blair.
Well, with all those arrests, why, Hoagie had trouble making connections for me. He begged me to kick my habit to cold turkey, like he was doing. I tried. I really tried. But I couldn't. My father must have heard me call Hoagie. Then Hoagie took me to that motel where he tried to score somewhere in the neighborhood for me. Then he went out and left me alone.
Were you the one who called Dr. Harmon?
Yes. Yes, I was. I went through the phone book at random. Doctors always carry narcotics. I had this crazy, desperate idea of appealing to whichever one came. When Hoagie got back, he said I was out of my mind. He said I could get into real trouble now. He made me go home, and he waited for the doctor. That's how it was, you see. I got him into this whole mess.
Mrs. Blair, when did you first hear of the murder?
The next morning, when he brought me half of the bottle.
Half, but not all.
He had taken some. He almost kicked it, you see. But right after Oh, my God.
And from the outset, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Egan has tried to arouse you on matters not germane to the case. For example, let us even concede for argument's sake that in the light of modern medicine, modern psychiatry, our laws against drug addicts may be obsolete, and in time may even be changed. But nevertheless, these laws exist, and you and I are not here to question them. The broad narcotics problem is not your concern. The sole issue before you is the wanton taking of a human life by that man sitting there. And the state has clearly established that it was a premeditated murder. Premeditated! In that he was engaged in a criminal act. That he had criminal intent in his mind, namely, to induce Dr. Harmon to provide him with narcotics. Now, whether he begged, stole, or borrowed them, or for whom, does not matter much. The end result was a needless and atrocious murder. And for that reason, I'm asking for the death penalty, with no recommendation for mercy.
Is the district attorney serious? Can he possibly be in earnest when he says you have no right to challenge the existing laws on drug addiction? The existing persecution of these admittedly sick people? Why have you no right? In fact, why is it not your duty? The facts I have introduced are not irrelevant. I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, this accidental killing would not have taken place if we, the respectable, law-abiding community, were properly facing up to the problem of drug addiction. It is both evasive and immoral of us to permit laws which say to an addict, don't dare to alleviate your disease or you become a criminal. I call it not only hypocrisy, but an absurdity to try and put an end to illness by labeling it illegal. And I remind you that certain social diseases are no longer a public menace, but they were conquered by the medical profession, by not the police. Now, I don't mean to condemn law enforcement agencies. They didn't ask to have this problem dumped in their laps. Society, you and I, in our ignorance and evasiveness, have permitted this to happen. Now, the state has tried to show that Hoagie Blair made no effort to overcome his so-called criminal craving. Yet one of their own witnesses, a doctor, admits that for physiological and psychological reasons which we yet don't understand, up to 99% of these people go back to drug taking. You heard another witness brand Hoagie Blair as callous, without normal feelings. And then you heard his wife. She gave an entirely different picture of him, didn't she? Ladies and gentlemen, from the moment he was trapped by this terrible thing, Hoagie Blair, like tens of thousands of other addicts, was subjected to punishment, public humiliation, harshness, such as we give to no other form of human suffering. Isn't it time? Isn't it high time for the rest of us to look at the mitigating circumstances, to extend mercy and understanding, to realize that this awesome problem is a social and medical problem.
I don't know. I just don't know.
good, John. Good.
You too, Jerry. They've been out 2 hours. I'd hate to be on that jury.
That's the worst of it. You hit the nail on the head. We're all on that jury.
Honey, why didn't you? I could have helped you. We can still try to lick it, can't we? And maybe help him. John, Jerry, jury's coming out.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
The defendant will please rise and face the jury. The court clerk will read your verdict.
We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.